What are we doing today, Lisa?
On today's episode of
Alchemist,
we are reviewing
Harley and Ivy Meet
Betty and Veronica
by Paul Dini and
a lot of other people.
yeah, and Mark Adraco. Laura Braga is the artist.
How are you remembering all of these people?
Because I just read it. Tony
A.
There's a lot of colorists.
Tony A. There's just so many people working on this series. In all seriousness, the plot of Harley and Ivy meet Betty and Veronica is that Veronica Lodge's father, Hiram Lodge, decided that he wanted to build or be philanthropic, and is that
Philanthropic. Philanthropic.
And build a university where it's going to be free tuition, and he's going to be able to have all these stores that he owns and businesses and stuff.
But
yet
he's building it over the wetlands.
He's building it over the wetlands, which, Poison Ivy is going to have a problem with, and therefore sets out to save the wetlands.
Like, I was really excited for this because I loved Paul Dini's Gotham City Sirens, and he did such a cute comic with just Harley and Ivy back in the early 2000s.
And I really love the Harley Quinn Rebirth by Amanda Conner. So I was really excited about the Archie world meeting the DC world.
And Paul Dini, he also helped create Harley Quinn.
Did he?
Yeah, he did.
Huh.
I don't know. I was really into the first issue, and I thought it was a very good start. And then the second issue really confused me. There's a lot of fun and games that goes on in the second issue, which I can appreciate. It just felt like it was too much at once because they were introducing a lot of characters, and it was like, it was too much for me.
I felt the same way. The first issue was paced comfortably, and then in the second issue, it was just so many things thrown in at the same time in terms of storytelling that it just utterly I guess it didn't confuse me. A lot of the elements put together confused me with this series, but I feel like it was written for teen. It's rated T, so we shouldn't look at it as harshly or criticize it as an adult book because we're adults reading this. We should kind of tap into our inner 15-year-old selves playing slide to appreciate this story.
Paul Dini and Mark Adraco are both kind of DC writers, and I wish that there were some Archie writers.
Yeah, so this, in what from my understanding, is published by both DC and Archie. However, I'm not sure if there were any Archie writers or artists involved in the creation of this series.
Yeah, I didn't look up the artists so much as the writers about where their roots are from, but it just didn't feel like any part of it was Archie. I've only read Betty and Veronica, the first few, and like the Riverdale one shot, and I don't know, I just didn't feel... It didn't feel Archified.
No, it did not feel like Archie was heavily involved here. You know who should have been involved in this? Adam Hughes. Adam Hughes is not only an amazing artist, but he's also a great writer. And the way that he helped modernize and evolve Betty and Veronica's characters in their Betty versus Veronica series is what I think would have helped bring the Archie evolution to fruition within this DC crossover. Okay.
As for the representation of the characters, I don't think this was the best representation of Harley and Ivy that Paul Dini has done. I don't think it was terrible by any means.
They have such a beautiful relationship that has evolved over the course of all these different series, and you don't really feel it here. I don't feel that beautiful connection that Poison Ivy and Harley have.
And I don't feel that connection either between Betty and Veronica. I don't understand why they're friends. They've always had this competitiveness, right?
Yes, they've always been competitive, but the story just doesn't... You're not really sure why they're, like, so snarky towards each other.
I'm not even sure they're friends in this.
Exactly. But they're frenemies. They kind of just feel like enemies in this series.
But in high school, you always have frenemies.
Do you, though? Did you have any frenemies?
I didn't even have friends.
Yeah, me neither.
So we can't even talk.
We're not good judges of
Comment below if you had a frenemy in high school, or if you're in high school and you have a frenemy. Tell us all about them.
Do you guys have frenemies? Does that exist?
Well, they do spend a lot of time in the second issue bringing up more character storylines.
A lot more Archie characters.
Yeah, which I liked, seeing all the different characters and how they dress up for this costume party. Little Easter egg in there. Archie cosplays himself from a really long time ago when he was a superhero, so I thought that was fun.
I really love that Sabrina is in it, because Sabrina the Teenage Witch is one of my favorite Archie characters, and I kind of get the feeling that the way they threw her in here, maybe it might be some type of foreshadowing to the development of a Sabrina DC mashup with someone. I just can't think of who they would mash her up with.
Huh.
Who would Sabrina the Teenage Witch mash with? Mash.
Who do you want to see Sabrina with in a DC comic?
Yes. Who?
I think that's an interesting question.
I'm going to go with... Ooh. What Hawk Girl would be really cool. Sabrina and Supergirl. Okay. Mm-hmm. Why? Because they're both blonde?
And they both have powers.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
So that would be kind of cool seeing them, like, do powers and stuff together.
What if somehow Catwoman and Sabrina in this series end up having to do something together, and then that just like pushes a new
that would be kind of cool. But as for the art, the faces were really beautiful.
The faces were beautiful. I think that the artist, who was that again?
Laura Braga.
I think that the artist Laura Braga did a great job in terms of the lines and the faces that you see within Betty, Veronica, Harley, Poison Ivy.
Very expressive faces.
Very expressive. Which to me it felt very DC, but did you feel differently?
Well, it doesn't have that Archie style to it, obviously.
No.
I guess you could call it more DC-like because of the fact that it's missing that Archie element.
Yeah.
But as for the coloring, a lot of times with DC Comics, they pick like a palette or a tone or a set of colors or a recurring color or color set.
This didn't really feel like it had a palette.
No.
It was kind of like, let's just throw in
any color
color we want, and
we'll even change hair colors.
Yeah, you notice that someone's hair color was different on one panel than it was in the rest of the series.
I don't know if that was on purpose or that was like an oversight. Like maybe they decided to change it later on and they just forgot to go back.
No, I mean you would catch that though. I think that when you're editing it, you would catch it. So
maybe. It just seems like this was really rushed.
Yeah.
And I know that Archie does put their artists on very tight deadlines. DC has done it too.
Absolutely.
But, I'm not saying anything bad about these comic houses. I just know I follow a lot of artists and writers on Twitter, and they're always like, why did I take on so many projects?
Yeah.
That's like their number one thing that they say.
But exactly, this series, to me at least, felt like it was kind of like an afterthought for these all the writers and the artists working on it. Maybe they had other projects that were taking a forefront, and this ended up being kind of like a secondary thing. That's just how it felt to me.
Yeah.
In the second issue, it was really hard to distinguish between the four main ladies because of something that happens in the plot. I don't want to ruin it, but yeah, it was just a little confusing along with the writing to follow along. And that's kind of why I fell off of wanting to continue reading this series.
I think it would be entertaining for a younger set.
Yes.
I don't know. I might hang on for another issue because it's already been ordered. It's probably already in my pull list right now.
Yeah. It's coming out on December 6th.
Yeah. And I'll read it, but after that, I don't know.
I'll let me know. What would you rate it?
I would give it 5 out of 8.
What?
I don't know. Because I feel like there's so much, like...
You think there's promise?
I think there's promise. There's still promise. And
They have 4 more issues to turn... This is a 6-issue series, by the way. So they have 4 more issues to prove us wrong. I'm going to give this a 2 out of 8.
Whoa,
Pizza
that's
slices.
very...
Because I love Harley and Ivy and Betty and Veronica so separately that putting them together should have been the most amazing thing ever. And unfortunately, it fell flat for me in these first 2 issues. And yeah.
Okay. You guys let us know if you liked this comic and if you've ever had a frenemy and what frenemy means to you and what Archie DC mashups would you like to see in the future?
Yes.
If you would like to see them.
If you'd like to.
You know, it would be really cool, Archie and Superman.
That would be an excellent crossover.
Yeah.
Yeah. I could definitely hop on board that.
And maybe Jughead and Batman.
That's pushing it.
Remember to comment, subscribe, like,
Bell.
hit the bell,
And
let's set a fire.
let's start a fire.
Figuratively. Bye.